Good morning. This is HJT Views on current affairs. We need to understand what this pandemic, COVID-19, has taught us as a country and as a people. The first lesson that it has taught us is that we need to change our focus to national health. Why am I saying so? For the first time, this country has felt the need for hospital beds, oxygen, basic medical personnel, and medical equipment requirements. You can just imagine the status that if this position was there in several urban areas, how poorly our rural areas are serviced by healthcare. This pandemic has suddenly highlighted that India needs to move its focus away from investments into industries, public sector investments, into investments into national health. Investments into national health and investments into national education are the two major takeaways from this pandemic. Why am I talking national education? Because schools and colleges have been closed, and yet students, in some way or the other, are being educated. There are classes going on. Now, this is fine so far as urban areas are concerned. But one doesn't really know what is happening in our rural areas or in our semi-urban areas. The fact of the matter is that we need to totally change the way we have up till now looked at health and education. Health and education will build the India of tomorrow and will give returns that are far, far in excess of what returns will come to you from the process of building industries or airlines or whatever it is. Our investments now need to be infrastructure, need to be health, need to be education. Second learning that India has taken is that if the office does not come to you, it does not matter. People have worked being outside office. It is no longer necessary for you to be in office. You can be outside office and yet be extremely productive. Yes, there is a problem over here, and that is the problem of industry, of manufacturing. You cannot manufacture all over the place. You have to have one unit location. That problem has to be somehow resolved, and that can only be resolved through the process of social distancing, masks, taking good care of your hygiene, etc. So suddenly, this pandemic has taught us the importance of hygiene, has taught up the importance of social distancing. Otherwise, as we all know, we Indians love crowds, and to the extent possible, we squeeze everything in into as little space as is possible. Our cities and the way they have grown is classic proof of the fact that we don't expand outwards. We keep going higher and higher in restricted spaces. That perhaps may need to change now. The third very, very important lesson that this pandemic has taught us is that all activities which involve crowds, whether it is offices at one location, entire multi-storied buildings, whether it is sports activities, whether it is entertainment, whether it is weddings, whether it is political activities, those will need a new dimension, those will need a new way of working their industry out. Entertainment, cinemas, halls, stadiums, everything will need to change. We need to change the way we are living so far as crowding is concerned. And of course, let's not forget transportation. Transportation will need to be evolved and thought out in a new way all over again. This crammed buses and trains, etc., has to stop. This is my talk for today. Jai Hind, Jai Maharashtra, Jai Mumbai.